Story 1. My, 33 male, fiance, 26 female, cheated on me while on deployment. Exactly as the title states, I'm deployed right now. No bother telling where for anonymity. My fiance, we'll call her M, has had difficulty adjusting to it as it's our first deployment together. The first month was rough, but nothing alarming, just constant talking, bad texts to try to stay in contact. Second month, we had arguments because M just wanted to find friends to hang out with. For context, she doesn't get out much, has severe trauma issues, and isn't good with distance. I had taken several shorter two-week trips during my homestay, and it seemed she fell apart every time, but never unfaithfully. Third month, there's distance. She met a friend who came down for work, and they hung out. This was actually a friendship, not betrayal. Nevertheless, it was hidden to me because it was a guy. At this point, I had stopped getting pictures as much, and our talks were briefer. I found out about the guy, and it started even more arguments because I thought she was cheating since it was hidden from me. Well, I don't know if this was the last straw or not, but then she went to her mom's for Christmas, so 2 weeks of not worrying about it. Then she got home, and it was only a few days later. I saw him on the camera. He was the tow truck driver who had picked up her Jeep after a car accident a few weeks prior. Midday, in between shifts. He even had the tow truck with him. He was in the house for a little less than 2 hours. She called me afterwards, another brief call, and then I can only assume she got completely obliterated while talking to her mom. I got another call an hour or two later. This was the admittance. She didn't want to say it, but I had to hear it to know. She said she cheated on me. But she says it was a month ago. Some guy she doesn't talk to anymore, got drunk and doesn't know what happened. Of course I was upset. How could she do this to me? Our relationship has never been perfect, but we've been mostly stable for the past year out of the 4 years I've known her, and I was ready to marry her when I got home. She put these disgusting thoughts in my head of another man being where I should only be. She said she's sorry and wants to be forgiven. I say I will forgive her, but in my thoughts, I don't know if I can. On all accounts, I love this girl. I've done everything I can for her while I've been out here, and I've committed myself. She broke that commitment. I was extremely upset at her, but that's the end of that conversation. We talked the next day where I told her that I was certain it didn't happen a month ago, rather it was the same day she told me. More arguments and she wouldn't admit the truth. At this point, she retracts her previous statement that she cheated. She says she was really drunk and doesn't remember if it even happened. She says she would remember that, and on some level I wonder if she's blocking it out with the alcohol. I know better because I found his snap and asked him about it. He confirmed that it happened in our home, in our bed. We've had talks since then about communication and transparency, something she struggled with after her previous marriage, but as long as I know she's doing what she says she's doing, I wouldn't have a problem. As I said, it's not controlling to want to know what you're doing and where you are, it's just showing respect for your partner's feelings. So, here we are at the halfway point, just barely there, and now I'm wondering if I can even trust this person anymore. I found myself losing sleep just thinking about the betrayal. We haven't talked about it since then. Our talks are still brief, but it's not like she's going anywhere now. She's just been in the house. To the point, I want to keep this woman who may speak volumes about me as well. We've been through a lot together, and we both knew this deployment was going to take its toll. I want to go back to how it was, when we would just be able to talk for hours about nothing, where I felt the love there. I fear she's destroyed something that was special, and this is the worst time. Being out here, I really need someone to be solid for me because I don't always have the best days out here, and it's nice to be reminded there's something at home waiting for me. My mind is scrambled, trying to figure out what to do next. I hope this doesn't go viral and there's enough details in here to give it away, but if she saw it, what's the harm? Certainly she has to know that I know. I even told her exactly what happened all through the denial. Reddit, what do you think? Well, I will say it sounds like there were definitely issues before this. You know, she is not making friends, not dealing well with long distance, had a bad previous relationship. Like, clearly this is a person who I think probably needs some pretty extensive therapy, and that is probably what is causing some of these issues and this rift and her cheating. That said, it's not an excuse. You know, like, what she did was wrong, and you're very justified to feel hurt and to have trouble trusting her at this point. And whether or not you want to continue on is up to you. I always like to say with things like this, like, I do believe that, you know, if you want to forgive someone who's cheated on you, that can be repaired and the marriage can be, build back up that strength and work and be wonderful. I've seen that work with the generation above me. I've seen this happen and it can, but it is hard. I can't imagine how hard it must be. And I also don't blame anyone who's like, no, I can't do this. I just can't rebuild that trust. This is broken something that I just, can't deal with. And I think that's fine. But I would say the biggest thing you have to do is just take a lot of time, talk with someone that you can trust, and decide in your head whether or not you want to move forward. Story 2. They F up while driving and blame it on me. Sorry, can't come in. I was on my way to work. I work in an axe-throwing venue. Just driving down a straight street near my work, then a guy in a massive pickup truck flies out of a side street, cutting me off and making me almost T-bone him. And he has the nerve to tell me to watch where I was going and call me an a-hole and more abuse like I'm the one at fault. Was super tired and a bit shocked, so I didn't have a response as I drove away, but ended up laughing at the thought of it, knowing I didn't do anything wrong. Anyway, get to work, and guess who's there? That's right, he's a little D-energy guy. Went straight behind the counter and said, sorry, you can't come in. I've already seen you do something illegal as well as be abusive, which isn't tolerated here, as we literally have axes everywhere. He didn't understand till I brought up the car situation. He argued a bit, but in the end, wasn't allowed in. Whole thing made my morning. I mean, first off, why doesn't it surprise me that it was a massive pickup truck? Like, no judgment, I know plenty of great people who have pickup trucks. But we all know that if someone's a real a-hole on the road, there's a chance they might be giving big pickup trucks a bad name. Trups? What am I saying? I can't speak today. Anyway, yeah, great call. That is the kind of just sweet instant karma that you just can't make up. It's so good. It's just delicious. I love it. Sucks to that guy. You don't get to throw no axes. Why don't you go back to throwing your truck around the road like an idiot? Story 3. Today I effed up by peeing off the side of a mountain. So I, 32 male, and my girlfriend, 33 female, were out enjoying our annual anniversary vacation. This year we decided to do some hiking through Appalachia and had ended up in Red River Gorge, Kentucky. The scenery is amazing. The weather was great. I figured I wasn't going to get a better opportunity to pop the question. Well, any gentleman knows better than to get down on one knee in the middle of the trail. You wait until you're at the highest peak. Unfortunately, nature called long before we got to that point. Now, every guy knows that the higher the ledge you pee off of, the more authority you have. So I found a pleasant little overlook, did my business, and carried on with my proposal in mind. Along the way, we passed a few other hikers, said our greeting, and kept moving towards the top. Once we had reached the summit of this particular rock, she sat down, and I tried to mentally prepare myself to get things just right. So, once I'd gotten myself psyched up, I put my hand into my pocket and palmed the ring, knelt down in front of her, and she said, "I see your wiener." Turns out I had forgotten to zip myself back up, and the little flappy flaps of my boxer shorts failed to do their job. So there I am on one knee, trying to make this a memorable moment and failing successfully. After flopping through the proposal, we stopped and realized that I may have flashed a few innocent hikers as well. I mean, if you want to make a memorable proposal, what better way to do it than with your wiener showing? That makes for a memorable proposal to me, so good job, you did it. You get to tell that story forever, and I got to tell that story. And now it's going to live on the internet forever, and everyone gets to think about your wiener hanging out as you're about to propose. Like, I have to say, you're kneeling down in front of her, and she says you see the wiener. How quickly after your little tuck-in zip were you like, okay, oh, zip, will you marry? Like, how quickly did you actually then go to the proposal? I feel like you should have been like, oh, yeah, I was just tying my shoe. Thanks so much. Okay, yeah, get up, stretch a little bit, and then be like, oh, hey, by the way. Story 4. My entitled mom is upset because I don't like when she steals from me. I hope I posted this in the right place. Anyway, I am a 14 female, and I'll be 15 next month. My parents are separated, and I live with my mom, brother, and older sister. For a little background, last year for my birthday, I got around $300 from my mom's side of the family and $100 from my dad. All of this money was given to my mom as I don't have any debit cards, cash apps, or stuff like that because my mom thinks I'm too young to manage money. I planned on buying a pair of shoes and a hairdryer I've been wanting, so I was very excited about it. I asked my mom for the money and she kept telling me to be patient and that she'll give it to me, but after 2 weeks, she claimed she'd lost access to it. I felt very irritated at first, but almost a whole year, that was last February, I eventually got over it. Last month, a little bit before Christmas break, she told me that my dad had sent myself and my siblings money while we were driving home from school. I asked her how much he sent, and she refused to tell me because she wasn't going there with me, referring to previous times she'd stolen money our paternal grandparents gave my siblings and I. So I just called my dad and asked him, and he told me he gave all three of us $500 each. My siblings and I never actually got the money because she spent all of it, and she revealed that she's spent the birthday I spent that too. She didn't even use it to get us a gift or anything, just $1,500 for her effing self. When we got upset about it, she played victim and made us all go to our grandparents' house because we were affecting her mental health by being selfish and bullying her. I feel really angry and upset every time I think about it because every time I ask for things like clothes or new shoes, I've been wearing the same pair for almost a year, she blows up because she can't afford it yet. When I actually have money, she just takes it all, leaving nothing for me. It's like she doesn't want me to have nice things, and that saddens me. My siblings and I are still here with our grandparents. I just wanted to get this off my chest / put my feelings into words. To this mom, and any parent who would do this to their kids, you're a bad parent. You're being a bad parent. I don't care that they're still a minor and you have control of their assets. That money is theirs. It was a gift to them. And if you are stealing it, and you are stealing it, to spend on yourself, that's not okay. And the big question I want you to ask yourself is the amount of money that you're stealing from your kid worth them hating you when they grow up and worth them never wanting to have contact with you again? Because that is the very real risk that you are running. These kids are never going to want to trust you. This person who wrote this, I would not be surprised if the moment when she turns 18, she gets the hell out of there and never wants to speak to her mom again. Because there is no trust, and you can't have a good, loving relationship with someone that you can't trust and that steals from you. So don't do that. If you're tight on money, if you're struggling and all that kind of stuff, talk to your kids about it like they're adults. Work something out. Make sure that you're paying it back somehow because it is still their money. But don't just take money from them and pull the crap that this person pulled. That is just gross. Story 5. Am I the a-hole for calling my sister stupid and her husband crappy parents from the start because of what they want to name their kid? Okay, so just a little context because this topic is incredibly touchy for me. I am a man who was given a woman's name at birth. A good example is naming your son Alice. It's not what my name was, but it's close. My parents are hippies and gave their oldest son a girl's name to stick it to the man, and I will never forgive them for it. That name caused me to be bullied and damaged my professional life in ways I cannot describe. My sister is pregnant with her first child, a girl. She and her husband are ecstatic. It just sucks that she inherited my parents' stupid propensity to see their children as fashion statements. Last night, she revealed to the family the name of her daughter. It's Crystal? She wanted to name her daughter, I'm assuming, Crystal. Confused, the name is pronounced Crystal. I already don't like that name, but it's at least appropriate. I was not surprised to learn that my mom helped come up with the name. When she told me, I told her it was a terrible idea. If she wants to name her Crystal, name her Crystal. She tried to explain to me why the X's are there, and I just told her it does not matter. She's naming a human, not a dog. I don't care what kind of fashion statement she's trying to make. This is a person who will have to live with that name until they die or have it changed. She and my mom brushed me off as just complaining because I was never able to accept my name. I told my sister she was either selfish, stupid, or an incredibly strong combination of the two if she thinks her daughter will want a stupid name like Crystal. We got into an argument and I told her I already see her and her husband as crappy parents for using their kids to be off-brand with her name, and left right after. My sister is not taking it well at all and my mom is furious with me. I'm starting to wonder if I was too harsh. I will not change my opinion on that incredibly stupid name, but I'm wondering if branding her as a crappy parent was too far. I sure think it was. I don't even necessarily think it's a crappy name because, yes, it is a weird spelling, and when people see that weird spelling, they might poke fun at it, but kids will make fun of everything. Like, if your name is like Harold or Harry, then kids will start calling you like, oh, Harry Wiener, or whatever. Like, who knows? Like, kids will always make fun of any name, and it sucks. And the only way you get through that is with good support and parenting and understanding. That's a discussion for another time. But at the very least, like, if someone asks what your name and she says Crystal, then that's it. It's fine. I think she'll probably be okay with it. And if honestly, like, the X's and stuff have meaning to these parents and they want to, okay, I think names are important for people. And I think it is important for people to like their names and have connection to it. And if there's one thing that I know a lot of people with boring names think, it's that they would like a unique name that, feels special to them. And there is a very good possibility that Crystal might see this unique spelling of a name that pretty much no one else really has for the most part and think, wow, that's a special thing for me. It feels more unique. It feels like this was crafted for me. And I think that can be good. And I think there's also a line for this. I think there's a point where, like, if people, like, name their kid, like, Absiday, ABCD or whatever, because it's like, it's so funny. No, okay, like, don't make your kid's name a joke. Don't make your kid's name, Optimus Prime or something because, funny meme or something like that. No, if it's going to be a unique name, it should have actual sentimental meaning that you can explain to that child. And maybe, even if some kids poke fun at it, like they'll poke fun at any name, at the very least, they can hold on to that thought of, hey, kids might make fun of it, but this name is special to me. So in conclusion, I think you are kind of an a-hole, and especially calling them crappy parents and stuff at the very beginning, way too far. I think you're right to be frustrated with your own name if you want or whatever, but chill. I've known a number of guys who actually had traditionally female names, and they were fine, well-adjusted, and actually really embraced their name, so I don't know. Not that you have to, but don't project your own problems onto others. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.